Hello and welcome back to Born to Rant. I'm Brandon, and today we are here to talk about maybe the most forgotten movie of the 90s. A movie that features Patrick Stewart playing a sleazy villain, and of course the movie that was brave enough to finally ask the question, what if Die Hard happened at an elementary school? That's right, today we are diving into 1997's Masterminds, directed by Roger Christian and written by Floyd Byers and starring Patrick Stewart, Vincent Kartheiser, Brad Whitford, and Brenda Fricker. We'll take a look at how the movie came together, why Patrick Stewart said yes to being in the movie, everything that makes the movie still worth watching today, and its legacy almost 30 years later. Now, this is a movie I have such a distinct memory of seeing for the first time. Growing up, my mom ran a daycare, and it wasn't uncommon for the other kids around my age occasionally bring over movies they'd just gotten or rented, and I remember a girl a couple years older than me randomly brought this movie in one day, and she couldn't stop talking about how awesome it was, and so we watched it. And I remember pretty much immediately being sucked into the movie. I mean, it was still a couple years before my parents would let me see Die Hard for the first time, so I think it makes a lot of sense that an 8-year-old boy in 1998 thought this movie was awesome. And from there, Masterminds became an occasional rental for me. Like, I hadn't seen it in probably over 25 years, but when I was a kid, I did see it multiple times, and watching it as an adult, at first I was kind of rolling my eyes. Like, the intro for this movie is so silly, and Kartheiser is such a generic 90s bad boy with a generic 90s bad boy bedroom. But as the movie unfolded, I did slowly get bought in, and obviously a big part of that is the fact that Sir Patrick Stewart is turning in just a really fun performance as the movie's main villain, Rafe Bentley, which is just an incredible name. But even more than that, this movie has some amazing practical stunts throughout, and even though the script is clearly inspired by Die Hard, I thought it still did a good job of making the characters feel real and unique. Like, even the henchmen are all pretty distinct from one another. But before I start getting too deep into everything that I liked about Masterminds, let's go back in time and learn just a little bit more about how the movie came together. Alright, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, this was one of the most difficult to research movies that I've ever covered on this channel. But as far as I can tell, the story of Masterminds begins with Floyd Byers, Alex Siskin, and Chris Black, who again were brave enough to ask the question, what if they made Die Hard for kids? Although I guess we should give a little bit of credit to Home Alone, given that we see people get hurt in ways that should absolutely kill them, but no one ever seems to die. And Byers does get sole screenwriting credit for the movie, with the other two getting story by credits. And fun fact about the other two, Chris Black has since gone on to become an executive producer and writer on a little show you might have heard of called Severance, and Siskin is a producer on the Equalizer movies, and actually Byers is the only one of the three seemingly no longer working in the industry. But anyway, they managed to sell their script to Pacific Motion Pictures, who agreed to finance and produce the movie. Although sadly, there is no reported budget online for Masterminds, but I really can't imagine this thing cost more than $5 million, but who knows? As for the director of this movie, Roger Christian, he actually started his career as a set decorator back in the 70s on a small independent movie you've probably never heard of. No, seriously, he even won an Oscar for his work on Star Wars. But starting in the early 80s, Christian turned his eye towards directing and worked on 5 smaller independent movies, none of which were hits at the box office. As far as casting and behind-the-scenes stories go, unfortunately, just about the only thing I could find about either were these archived Bobby Weinget interviews, and they do provide some insight. It sounds like Patrick Stewart was sent a version of the script where Bentley was German, and after reading it, he was intrigued to play a kind of mustache-twirling villain in an action movie, but the German aspect wasn't really working for him, and he said,
"If you want me to really have fun with this guy, to make him truly obnoxious and entertaining at the same time, let's make him English."
Which I thought was pretty funny. As for the Kartheiser interview, that one's big reveal is that he actually learned how to skateboard only a couple weeks before the shoot, and did in fact actually ride down a bunch of these steps on camera. I mean, a lot of them are also a stuntman, but still pretty sick. And on July 10th, 1996, Masterminds went into production, primarily filming at Hatley Castle in Vancouver, BC, which funnily enough, Stewart would find himself at this location again a couple years later when the X-Men series would shoot here. And it sounds like the castle was primarily used for the exterior locations, and then the production actually went all the way to London to shoot at Shepperton Studios in Shepperton. And again, there's just not much available out there about the behind the scenes of this movie. I mean, it's never even been released on DVD before, so there's not even like a grainy behind the scenes featurette floating around out there. And anyway, on August 22nd, 1997, Masterminds was released into theaters, and on its opening weekend, it would only make $1 million and place 17th at the box office. So Masterminds failed at the box office, but I have to believe it found some life on home video. It wasn't a staple in every home or anything, but it was a staple at every rental store in the country, I'd bet. Apologies for the interruption, but I wanted to just jump in and ask that if you're enjoying the video so far, that you take a moment to either like the video or subscribe to the channel. Born to Rant is a completely independent channel, and I use absolutely no AI in the making of my videos, and if that means anything to you at all, your support would mean the world. And with all of that out of the way, let's grab our skateboards and dive into everything that makes Masterminds still worth watching today.
I'm not a violent man, but I really do think I'm gonna have to kill someone here.
So let's start with the setup and Die Hard of it all. The movie opens in maybe the most 90s way possible, with our main character Ozzy downloading a leaked copy of Scream 2, but of course he's not just using regular downloading software. No, he has to basically play a video game to get the movie to download, because that's the only way that movies used to know how to show anyone doing anything cool on a computer. Also, it's so funny to me he's downloading Scream 2 and only like a few days early, because Dad does say,
Ozzy, Scream 2. Which isn't out till Monday, am I right?
Also, we gotta talk about his bedroom, which is the most 90s teen bedroom possible. And actually, this movie has some really incredible set design throughout the entire movie, which I'm sure set designer Mark Lane knew he needed to bring his A game, considering he was working with a director that had won an Oscar for set decoration on, you know, the biggest movie of all time. But the design of his bedroom rocks, and I like how he's got this little trip laser thing, and that him tripping it purposefully is the thing that gets him caught when downloading Scream 2. But anyway, the actual setup of the movie is pretty simple. We've got Ozzy, his stepsister Melissa, his stepmom Helen, and his dad Jake, and it's a pretty simple dynamic. Ozzy is the troublemaking teenager, Melissa is the nosy little sister, Helen is the frustrated stepmom, and Jake is at his wit's end with Ozzy after he catches him downloading the previously mentioned Scream 2. And his punishment is having to take his little sister to her prep school. And I mean, him making her skate behind him as he skateboards is just a hilarious visual. Plus, him showing up at the school gives us even more fun 90s teen movie moments, like the fact that he's been banned from the school for doing too many pranks.
You're banned for life. Maloney will skin you alive if she catches you in here. We're still peeling the frog guts off the science room ceiling.
And we also get this great stunt of him going down the stairs. But this is where the actual plot of the movie kicks into place, and we meet Stewart's Rafe Bentley and Brenda Fricker as the school's principal, Claire Maloney, who you may also know as the foster mom in Angels in the Outfield, or as the pigeon lady from Home Alone 2. And I mean, the setup for this movie is very one-to-one with Die Hard. We've got a well-dressed villain with a giant crew of guys taking over a structure, and one rogue person working through the structure to take them down. I mean, Ozzy even calls out that this is basically the exact same setup as Die Hard.
We got a Die Hard situation here.
There's even a bonus crew of dudes in the basement drilling, which is in both Die Hard and Die Hard with a Vengeance. I also didn't think of it until sitting down to write the script for this video, but a huge part of Die Hard with a Vengeance is that Simon threatens to blow up an elementary school. And look, I know this isn't like a great movie or anything, but I do think it's kind of genuinely impressive how well it manages to rhyme with the beats of Die Hard while not ever feeling like it's going too far outside the realm of a 90s kids action movie. I mean, I don't think anyone even really gets shot or killed in this movie. Even when the goons take over the school, they're using tranquilizer darts. Also, when Helen runs away from the school after her car's been shot and blown up, I was reminded of the Sidney Prescott run from Scream and Cindy's run from Scary Movie, which is funny because John Abrams, who plays the hilariously named K-Dog, also played Bobby in Scary Movie. So once the school has been taken over, we get this fun little sequence of Ozzy breaking back in, and shout out to Kartheiser because again, it looks like he actually did some of his own stunts, and this creepy little basement thing he drops into just fully rocks. Now, the overall plan that Bentley and his men have is both straightforward and incredibly convoluted. Because this is a prep school for rich kids, he's planning on holding the 10 richest kids in the school for ransom and letting the rest go. Also, shout out to Terrell Rothery, aka Dr. Fraser from Stargate SG-1, who plays the teacher here, and she was also in Warriors of Virtue, which happens to be another completely forgotten 90s movie that partially filmed in Canada. And I actually did a video covering that movie a couple months ago. Go check it out if you haven't. So anyway, all of that to say that their plans sound straightforward at first. That is until it's introduced that Bentley used to work for Ozzy's dad and his partner, played by the always awesome Brad Whitford. But Rafe was fired after embezzling money, and then it turns out that this guy that works for Ozzy's dad and Whitford is actually in on the heist and is working closely with Bentley. Oh, and Bentley and his team were also apparently hired by one of Whitford's competitors that he was trying to buy out in a hostile takeover. I don't know. Like I said, it gets kind of convoluted, but the revenge aspect is yet another thing taken from Die Hard with a vengeance. And okay, let's talk about the bad guys a bit more. First of all, I love that we spend so much time with them. Like, Patrick Stewart is clearly having so much fun being a bad guy that likes being bad and chewing up the scenery. Plus, he's got some fun goons, and I actually laughed out loud. When this guy popped up, I knew he looked familiar, but I couldn't quite place him. But it turns out he's also one of the goons in Three Ninjas Kick Back, another movie I just covered recently, actually. But there's also Ferret, who chases Ozzy through the vents, and this guy who chases him with a machine gun, only to be crushed by a bunch of coal. But don't worry, he lives though. But my favorite is Ollie down in the tunnels doing the drilling, and that all he cares about is drilling.
Come on, lads! Step it up! We're drilling!
Like, when the sprinklers go off and Bentley makes him turn the water off, it pisses him off because it means he can't drill anymore, so he like immediately turns the water back on. It's also very funny to me that after the sprinklers go off and everyone is completely soaked, they're all completely dry again like just a couple minutes later. And actually, I love the way that Ozzy uses the security system that Bentley's installed and everything else around him to just really make them miserable. Like when he pumps up the heat and then breaks the furnace and says,
I hope you enjoy your sauna, Bentley.
I don't know why, but that's like the one line that stuck with me. There's also this really sweet moment between Ozzy and Helen as we break into the third act, where she talks to him through a walkie-talkie, but all he can do is respond in Morse code because his is broken. And I don't know, I just thought it was kind of a sweet, mostly well-written moment. So finally, after all of these escalating action sequences and pranks, Ozzy makes his way to the kids, Principal Maloney, and Dr. Frazier. And I love the principal helping Ozzy take this dude out and then immediately taking and cocking his gun. And this is another kind of sweet moment. Like, Maloney and Ozzy get this brief moment where their interests are 100% aligned and they kind of understand one another for the first time ever. Although it is kind of messed up when he leaves her passed out in the tunnel and says,
What about Maloney? She's a hard ass. Trust me, she'll survive. Okay. Come on.
And speaking of the tunnels, the ATV chase is the obvious high point of the action. I mean, it's our final action set piece after all. But I also think it goes on just a little too long. Honestly, if this movie were just a little shorter, it might belong in the same canon as stuff like Three Ninjas. This movie is 106 minutes long, and I think if it were anywhere in that 85 to 95 minute range, it would be 10 times better. So at the end of the day, Ozzy is reunited with his family and K-Dog, of course. The rest of the kids are safe, and Bentley accidentally finds himself driving into a sewage plant where he crashes and the money sinks into the sewage as the cops show up to arrest him. So almost 30 years later, what is the legacy of Masterminds? Well, like I said at the top of the video, I think it's genuinely one of the most forgotten movies of the decade. I mean, it never even got a DVD release. And I've never really heard anyone talk about this movie aside from a couple people in the comments on other videos I've done. Actually, shout out to channel member Doug Foxford for suggesting this movie recently. As for the cast of the movie, obviously Masterminds didn't hurt Patrick Stewart's career at all. In fact, he'd emerge bigger than ever just a couple years later when X-Men was released. Vincent Kartheiser would also go on to play Pete Campbell for 92 episodes of Mad Men, which is a show I've embarrassingly never seen, but if you guys wanted me to watch it and then do a video on it, let me know in the comments. Annabelle Gurwitch, who played Helen, would also get a job as the host of Dinner and a Movie on TBS, which is something I actually really loved watching as a kid. As for the director, Roger Christian, he would direct this Scientology-inspired Battlefield Earth a couple years after this, which obviously didn't go super well and would take him some time to recover from. As for me, I think the biggest thing I took away in revisiting this movie is that it's kind of bad, but also kind of awesome. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you for watching, and as always, an extra special thank you to all of my supporters on Patreon and my channel members here on YouTube. I truly could not do it without your support. Don't forget, supporters get early access to videos and access to exclusive videos like these two on the Burbs and the Golden Child, with new member exclusive videos coming every single month. If you'd like to learn more, there's a link to the Patreon in the description below, or a button to join as a channel member right beneath this video. And right now, you can actually join any tier on either platform for a free trial period. And that's going to do it for Born to Rant this week. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.